Have you figured out your niche? Are you helping adding value to other people's lives? Then you're in the right place. Welcome to Munira's Musings with your host, Munira Zahabi.
Greetings from Chicagoland. This is Munira. Welcome to Munira's Musings, another episode where we showcase a new person in our community who has decided to join us on Munira's Musings.
Munira Zahabi, the Niche Navigator, is a niche strategist. She is an international author, speaker, and influencer. She is an entrepreneur from Chicago, Illinois. Through her business, she has influenced many people to navigate their niche. She passionately believes that all people have a niche, but are afraid to explore the deep, dark waters within themselves and take a voyage through the raging waters within to find it. Munira's mission is to integrate the concept of nicheology, businessology, and confidenceology. She's also been a co-author of a number of books. She is the Ish, Journeys of Womanhood, Life is a Gift, Calling All Earth Angels and Healers, Heartfelt Business Lessons, Tips for Your Success, Conversations with Top Real Estate Investors. Let's welcome to the platform, Munira Zahabi.
Welcome to Lisa Perez. Hi,
Thank
Lisa.
you. Hi, thank you so much.
Where are you calling us from, Lisa?
I am in Miramar, Florida. It's just northwest of Miami and southwest of Fort Lauderdale. So I'm in South Florida.
That's awesome. And the warm weather, right?
Oh, beautifully warm weather. Absolutely. Year round, practically.
Right. So, ladies and gentlemen, we do these shows because we want to showcase a person, but we also want to bring you expertise that you think you need or you may need in the future, so you know where to go get the recordings from. The problem is lots of people have a dream, but they're not implementing it. Lots of people have an idea, but they stand on it and sit on it for a long time. And then they have regrets. And we don't want these regrets to happen. We want you to jump into the pool with us, in the entrepreneur pool, as you call it, and learn with us and grow with us. And there are others who need to listen to this. So if you know of somebody else, go ahead and let them know that we encourage you. That's number one. Number two, if you have found your niche, or if you are in a place where you want to talk to people about, let us know. Let us know on by Facebook messaging me, and then tell me that you are interested. And what we'll do is we'll get you a date on the show, and you can come and tell us what you are up to. This is a fun show. It's never scripted. What we do is we laugh, we cry sometimes, and sometimes it's just serious business that we talk about. But whatever it is, it's almost a half an hour, and we talk about our guest. So without further ado, let's talk to Lisa. Lisa, welcome to Munira's Musings. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Thank you so much. Well, I was born and raised in Brooklyn, New York, moved to Orlando area several years ago. I've been in the South Florida area about 21 years now. I was a human resources executive throughout 30 years in my career, 10 of which is in my business. The parent company is HBL Resources. We are a full service human resources consulting firm based, like I said, here in Miramar, but we have clients throughout the United States. And so we deal with and help support businesses in their HR administration. Maybe it's solely consultation, and then training and development, which is really where my true passion lies. And that is delivered through our Complete Manager Makeover brand. Recently, a book that I published, as well as a full curriculum for training managers in the workplace.
So I like what you did there for 30 years. How did you start your career? How did you know HR? Did you go to school for it?
No, I actually fell into it. I was a legal secretary right out of high school. Wanted to do what mom did, administrative work, and I do love administrative work. And it was secretarial sciences back then, and really just thrived in it. And legal profession just wasn't for me. It wasn't that exact blend of people and paperwork that changed and was not mundane or repetitive. And so I actually fell into human resources. I started in hospitality. In fact, I was a front desk clerk at a hotel management company, an airport hotel, and front desk wasn't for me either. It had the people, right? Check in and check out, but the paperwork was mundane. It was the same thing, check in, check out, check in, check out. And an HR position had become available. And the HR director at the time knew I had this administrative office skill set and knew I wasn't really aligned with the front desk role, and said, hey, it's going to open. We'd like you to apply for it. I got it and I fell into it. And I was like, hey, what's this HR stuff? I like this. And here I am almost 1 year later and loving it. Absolutely love what I do.
So you fell into it, and now you're still into it, but you're doing it for your own self.
Correct. I launched my firm 10 years ago.
So what you said in a minute is that you help managers learn and grow.
Yes, absolutely.
So why is that important?
So, to this day, there's a SHRM, Society for Human Resource Management, our national association, does a survey, and still 60% of employees leave their companies because of their manager's behavior. And typically that behavior is negative behavior. And I'm after that statistic, Munira. I want to see that reduced. I want to see people treated well in the workplace. There are tough conversations that have to be had in the workplace. Some people have to, be let go because it's not the right fit or they're just not aligned with the role. Maybe it's a layoff like we saw in COVID, right? Maybe it's you didn't get the job, right? And all of those conversations are important, but it's how you have those conversations that either build someone up and encourage them to do something in addition, to do something and fine tune, to find the bouquet of opportunity in that and continue to move ahead. Or the difference between someone being torn down and kind of demotivated. That's what I'm looking to do with what I do. The Complete Manager Makeover Initiative is really geared solely to not just training managers on, how to be good people managers, but what do I say? How do I have these tough conversations that don't come across as negative as they might often do in the workplace today?
You never get affiliated with an HR in a corporate or a small business, right? The HR is always in the back, and when a employee starts working, the question of HR only comes when the check is being submitted to them, a paycheck. Right?
No.
Yeah. I'm telling you so the thing is, most of the time people don't realize that the HR does so many things with people development and everything else.
Absolutely. Yes.
Right. So, for the longest time, HR to me was, they'll send me a paycheck. Right.
Okay. Okay.
That was what in my head was. Mm-hmm. But the thing is, when you go into bigger corporations, HR becomes the person who is going to look at your resume, who is going to look at your people skills, who is going to do the first screening before they send you over to the manager.
Yes.
So that's what HR is. But now you're saying that you take people in management positions and then grow them into managers. So why aren't they given this grooming before they become managers?
That's exactly why I do what I do, because it's just not out there very often. I think that there's a lot of leadership development training out there, and human resources does so much more. It's benefit administration, it's strategic alignment, it's vision, mission, values, it's recognition and rewards. I can go on and on about the full body of knowledge in human resources, and of course, recruitment, as you alluded to. But I think that, companies just don't see the importance. It's like, promote them and then we'll train them. that's kind of a little backwards, right? Let's train them with those skills before they become a manager of people. Just because I can do my job well, I always, akin it to the widget. I can make a great widget. Oh, you make such great widgets and you make so many of them. Let's promote you to manager, without giving any of those people skills. So I think that that's kind of where my wheelhouse comes in, and my passion for this training comes in, because that alignment's still missing in the workplace. And there's a lot of training going on. When you look at the numbers, the billions of dollars in the training and development, leadership development industry, there's money being spent, but it's being spent sometimes on the wrong things. We need those fundamentals first before we start doing more of the high level leadership development. I am a big fan of Stephen Covey. I'm a huge fan of John Maxwell, and all of those types of training have their place, but we still have to do some of those fundamentals. How do you speak to individuals? How do you use their personality style and their motivation style to encourage them? What do you say when you do have to correct someone's performance, so that they hear that feedback and they receive it well, and use it as that, I like to say, the bouquet of opportunity that it can be, as opposed to pulling them down. It's just simply not done.
So how has HR changed over the years?
Wow, when I first got into human resources, it wasn't a few years prior that it was just called personnel. And all they did at that time was the hiring and firing, right? Hiring and firing. And it's really expanded to, like I mentioned today, to really having that strategic seat at the table. And while large corporations do have human resources, small businesses do as well. And I serve many small businesses, some with as few as 10 employees, in many of the things that we can do, because there's a huge piece of compliance with employment law, with the record keeping laws that have to occur, with strategy of the business. And if you've got a strategy to grow to 3 or 4 more locations, well, guess what? Standard operating procedures, right? So that we can repeat the processes and duplicate our efforts. Those things are typically fall on human resources as well. So it can go on and on in terms of the support that an organization can have with human resources.
So when you go into a business, how do you know that they have HR problems, or do they come to you?
Usually they come to me with the problem, and I just help to kind of fine tune and kind of see where that problem's coming from. I like to do and always recommend new organizations that come to me for support, do what's called a human resources audit or an assessment, where we look at things like administration, benefits, compliance, training and development, OSHA safety. We really take a whole view of the human resources and how HR aligns with those pieces of the business, to see where the inconsistencies or where that root problem really could be coming from. And then we make some recommendations on how to correct those deficiencies, if you will, whether it's systems, technologies, processes, training and development, anything, coaching, executive coaching as well. So we've got to fine tune and find out where the problem is coming from. And sometimes it's very easy. Hey, we don't know what we're doing with our hiring. We're not using the right systems. It's taking too long to onboard someone or train them. Our turnover is too high. We look at the processes that are in place and then correct those thereafter. But typically they have an idea of what some of the needs are. We just kind of come in and say, you might have a bigger problem than just X, because there are processes that might be missing.
So my audience is a lot of coaches who are just starting out, and then eventually I know some of them already have a virtual assistant, and some don't. So what are the 3 things that you would recommend that everybody do when they start a business, keeping the HR umbrella in focus?
So I think that, they always say knowledge is power, right? But I say knowledge and action is power, because to know and not to do something is not to know it, in my opinion. And so learning what the human resources, employment law, record keeping requirements are. And that's at the very fundamental, right? When I hire somebody, what paperwork do I need to have? What kind of handbook or notices do they need to have? And every state is different. You've got federal law and then you've got state law. Knowing that information, going to your local SCORE organization. I wouldn't trust YouTube too much unless it's our channel, which we're going to start one day, or reaching out to some of the resources that we have even complimentary on our pages. Is here's what the record keeping is, here's what the forms are. Make sure you're getting that information on the record keeping compliance, new hire record keeping compliance, and ensuring that you hold to that compliance piece. That's the fundamental. Even if you have one employee, you've got 12 to 13 federal laws that you have to comply with. That's a lot to know about. And so I highly recommend that that be the first plan of action, if you will.
So, okay, so learn the laws, but so you said SCORE, is this an organization in every state or?
Yeah, every state has SCORE. SCORE is a national organization. I believe they started in the 60s. I'm a workshop presenter, in fact, for this organization and have been for about 10 years of my business, but probably the whole time. And one of the things that they do is they take executives and business owners as entrepreneurs, and they offer those services to the up and coming business owners, up and coming entrepreneurs, if you will. And many of these services are complimentary at no cost to that individual. They've got resource material, they have business plan templates, they have training and webinars that, I mean, are really, really top notch. In fact, I'm delivering one just this week on Thursday at 6 o'clock with the HR 101, how to manage your people resources legally. So that might be something. And again, it's at the Broward SCORE, because I'm in Broward County, Florida. And I'm sure they're like that throughout the United States as well, but that happens to be one happening. And those are mentorship opportunities that entrepreneurs have. How better than to grow your business, but get mentored by someone who's done it before you. And SCORE is one of those organizations that can help support small business.
Okay, so you said start at the understanding the laws and the needs, and then understand the compliance of federal and state. So
Absolutely.
Is that one thing or is that two different things? Or
it's two different things. You have to comply with federal law, but if your state has a different law than federal, like let's say minimum wage, right? There's a federal minimum wage, but each state sets its own minimum wage as well. And it doesn't always match the federal. So you've got to know what the laws are in your state and comply with them in addition to the federal laws.
okay, that's awesome. This is like, wow, so much to learn. But you know, you never know when this information is going to be handy, right?
Yeah.
So any piece of advice for entrepreneurs? You're an entrepreneur as well. And even though you are seasoned, and you know, for the sake of mentorship that you mentioned, what would you tell our listeners who are beginning their business or in their first 2-3 years of business, and how do they navigate through this whole system? I mean, entrepreneurship, you know, is a tough game, right?
It sure is. It sure is. You know, I'm fortunate to have survived, I'll say, 10, 11 almost years in business at this point. And I think that some of the most important things that I've done is educate myself. Go to those organizations that are offering the small business conferences in your local communities. Chambers of commerce are critical to support small businesses as well. And every city and every state has a chamber of commerce, as well as the US State Chamber of Commerce. Find organizations that support small business, like I mentioned, SCORE. Check your local library. They may even have resources. I know I sent a dear friend of mine to the library to get training on Microsoft Office because they were offering it complimentary to the community. These are the kinds of things that you want to find as resources and then do what they say, right? And it's just not getting the information, it's applying the information. Surround yourself with people that you aspire to be in their shoes, further along in the entrepreneurship journey, and learn from them. Always have a mentor and be a mentor as well. And I think that that'll set some pretty firm foundations.
I like that. Always have a mentor and be a mentor.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I'm writing notes because I don't want to lose the important parts.
And I live by that. I have a mentor, and I'm involved in a mentorship program. I think you're familiar with it, Women's Prosperity Network, an amazing group of women who support one another. And so I think that it's a critical thing to have a mentor and be a mentor. You've always got to be learning.
Yes, you always got to be learning. That's what our faith says too, right? Because
Absolutely.
keep learning, and that's the day they stop learning is the day you die. That's just out like a light.
I always say I want to have learned something on the day that I go where I'm going.
Right. So thank you so much. So where do people find you?
Absolutely. So I think one of the easiest things, although it's quite long, right? The complete manager makeover.com. That's where I am on all social media platforms, on LinkedIn and Facebook, Instagram, and our website is thecompletemanagermakeover.com. I'm always there and waiting to serve. And also the parent company is HBL Resources.com. So happy to have anyone in your community connect with mine, and really honored to be on your show today.
So there you have it, a different perspective on business, on entrepreneurship and HR, right? Yes. So we've never had a guest who came here and talked about HR stuff, but we are aspiring you as coaches to grow. And once you grow, you'll have people under you. And that is what you got to look out for. So if you have this information, you're well equipped for the future.
Absolutely.
So this is an aspiration, is something that you are going to step into, right? Don't wait. I remember when I was little, I used to wear my mom's heels, right? And then now I see my grandkids, they wear my heels, and then they'll say, oh, Ma, I'm going to wear these shoes when I grow up. So they're trying to step into our shoes, even if the shoes don't fit. Right. So right now it's the same analogy. Even if the shoes don't fit, you still want to have this information somewhere tucked away so that when the time comes, you know where to go. It's like an emergency plan.
Yeah.
Appreciate you being here, everybody. Lisa Perez, you know where to find her, the Complete Manager Makeover. Even though she doesn't say anything about HR, it's partly HR. She's related to the HR managers, but she doesn't just stop there. I think if you had a makeover coming to you, you can just go to her and she'll show you how to get it done. And ladies and gentlemen, if you like what we are showing you, and if you like our content, please like and share and subscribe to our channel. We're everywhere you can find a podcast. We'll see you next week with another guest. Have a nice week. Bye, everybody.
Thank you for listening to this episode of Munira's Musings with your host, Munira Zahabi. If you enjoyed our show, please share and subscribe to this channel. And for more content, please join our Facebook group.